Welcome to DC Doom, the series where on the way to becoming the most prolific reviewer of all time, attempt to watch and review every single movie based on a DC comic and every single television series based on a DC comic. And today we're going to watch the very first one. Well, I'm going to watch it. I watched it and I'm reviewing it for you. Superman, and the Mole Men. Those are a hard combination to say. It's a movie from 1951, and it's really weird because it had a theatrical release, but the whole point was that it would lead into a television series, and they actually hadn't finished the television series the first couple of episodes when they did this movie. They did the movie, they released it in cinemas, and then 3 months later they had to put it on air. And the movie stars George Reeves, and George Reeves would go on to play Superman from 1952 to the end of 1958 on a series called The Adventures of Superman. And he had gone around in his career, and basically he had tried a lot of different things in his career, but for the most part was unsuccessful until he got this role as Superman, because he was bigger than most actors at the time, so he looked like an imposing guy. And it's weird because for me, he seems to be like, you know how you have Superman actors who are really good as Superman, and then you have actors who are not as good as Clark Kent. I think that this is one of the rare examples of an actor who is great as Clark Kent, and as Superman leaves a bit to be desired, but his Clark Kent is brilliant. He nails like the mannerisms, the interactions with Lois. It's like perfect portrayal. But Reeves had a lot of problems with this role. And I think now, if that movie and series had been as successful now as they were in the 1950s, he would have been as famous as Tom Holland is, because it's basically the same thing, playing like an iconic superhero. But he really hated it. And he hated it for two reasons. One reason, I mean, there's different controversies about what he said or what he didn't say. And the reason for that is what I'm going to tell you in a moment. But some people said that he didn't like the success of Superman because he didn't really feel like adults appreciated his work. Because I watched a few of the Superman episodes, The Adventures of Superman. I'll come back to it and give it like a full review, but it's actually quite good. It really holds up. It's kind of like a case of the week adventure thing with Superman. And it has a lot of charm. So I think that adults really did like it, because this was the beginning of television. And I don't think you can get shows that still, I mean, obviously it's in black and white, and I mean, it's over what now, 70 years old. So it's not exactly a modern feeling TV show, but I think it still holds up. So I think adults really liked it, and he didn't really realize that. And the other thing that really limited him was the the contract situation he was in. So basically, the TV show had this 30-day kind of right of I don't know how exactly they said it, but basically he had to be available for production within 30 days. So if they said that they wanted to make another season in 30 days, he had to be ready. And it got to be so bad, both problems, that eventually he quit, and he was like, yeah, I'm not going to be Superman anymore because I can't find any other job. I can't do anything else and I'm not being paid enough. So he quit. And it was one of like the few situations where in the 1950s in Hollywood, the actor actually got his way because they couldn't find a replacement for him. So they begged him to come back and they gave him a lot of money to come back by the standards of the time. But he's still in this contract situation. He still thinks what he's doing is not very great as an actor, which is really weird because acting for children is still acting, right? You're still influencing people. And actually, he took that part really, really seriously. Like, he was a smoker and he stopped smoking because he didn't want to be a bad influence to children. And he was notorious for his affairs, but he really hid them from the public and never in the eyes of children because he wanted them to respect the character that he was portraying. So I think he did kind of get it on the one hand, but he felt like it was a prison on the other hand. And yeah, so the Superman thing was kind of dying down, even because he could only get work connected to Superman. And in the 1959, he dies, and his death is a little bit of a mystery because he got he was killed by a gun, and there's lots of details that don't make a lot of sense. Like the body was bruised, and the gun had been shot 3 times, but there was only one wound, the in his head, basically, and there were no gunpowder residue on his hands, although, like as I said, it's very controversial because it's possible that they didn't check because that was just becoming a thing that they would check at the time. And then there are people, and also he did this at a party when there were people down below. Like he was in the bedroom and there were people down below having a party. So why would you commit suicide at a party? Although I really don't like it when people try to rationalize suicide and the behavior of suicidal people because it's ultimately not a rational thing that somebody is doing. But anyway, there was his mistress was there, and she told the police contradictory things, or she said to the police one thing, and then people who were at the party or who told people who were at the party said that she actually was in the room when he did it. So then there's a theory like, yeah, he was actually killed by her because she was angry about something. Or he also had a long lasting affair with one of the heads of a studio. So then there's the idea that maybe the head of the studio killed him for revenge, or that lover who was rejected by him killed him for revenge. But yeah, I don't really know what happened, and I think unfortunately no one will really know what happened. There's a movie about this called Hollywoodland, and I think I've seen it, but I don't really remember it enough to recommend it. But it's all about that topic, that unfortunate death of George Reeves. Yeah, so could it be suicide? Maybe. Could he have been murdered? Possibly. No one knows. I think that it would be weird to murder. Like, I don't think that the studio head would murder him because he's kind of like a fading star at this point. And why would somebody who's still with their husband murder their lover? Doesn't make any sense. So the only rational sort of, if it is a murder, I think then it would be his girlfriend at the time, his lover at the time. And why would she do that? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, back to the review of Superman and the Mole Men. It's a Is it a good film? No, it's not a good film, but it's certainly a very interesting introduction to the character. So, what happens is Clark Kent and Lois Lane get called to do a newspaper story on the world's deepest oil well. And they go to the site of the oil well, and they find out that things are not going really well. That they've stopped mysteriously drilling in the oil. this oil well, and the guy who's in charge, the supervisor, seems very, very shady, but in the end, he turns out not to be shady. And the reason they stopped drilling is because they went down, and then the equipment started glowing, so he thought that maybe he had gotten into something radioactive, and then they went into this big hole, and then they couldn't drill anymore, so he's like, we're not going to do it. But in the meantime, these little people pop out of this hole, and they are just walking around town. These are the mole men, and they're just basically little people with skull caps, and that's it. That's it. They just like little people who have male pattern baldness, and that's the whole thing. They don't look like moles, nothing like that. So they walk along and they just terrify people for whatever reason. The reactions are immediate and very hysterical. One guy has a heart attack. Lois Lane freaks out, and she's like, they're horrible, they're gonna kill us, But they're actually not killing anyone, they're just wandering around, exploring the town. And so the town decides, or maybe some, civic leaders of the town decide to take matters into their own hands and create a literal vigilante lynch squad that's going to go and round up these creatures and just kill them. And so Superman is like, guys, maybe we shouldn't kill them. They didn't do anything wrong. Maybe we could, tone down the murder. And then he's talking to one of these guys, and the guy's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and then immediately shoots at Superman. And Superman doesn't die because he's Superman, of course, but like, that's crazy. It's like, you are murdering little creatures because you're afraid of them, and you're also murdering people just because they have a different opinion than you. It's like really, really wild. So then things happen. And, well, basically 90% of the movie is just chasing these little people around the town. And there's like a little bit of action with Superman preventing people from, hurting these little guys. And then the little guys, so basically one of the little guys gets shot. Superman takes him to the hospital, and the director of the hospital is like, why would you take this guy to the hospital? It's crazy. And Superman is like, look, you would treat a dog better than this guy. And the director's like, this is not an animal hospital. Which, okay, fair point. So anyway, the mole men come to rescue their buddy, and they've got like this giant laser thing. And the main villain, he tries to shoot at them, but they like point the laser thing, and it just seems to be like a pain creator. And he's like, he's suffering a lot, and Superman saves him. And then the guy's like, oh, Superman, you saved me. And Superman's like, you didn't deserve it. Like just cutting him down to size. So yeah, that's the movie. The mole men go back to their home underground. And in Superman universe, the world is hollow and mole men live at the center. So they go back to their home, and they go back down this like tube, and then they blow it up so the people can't come and see them again, which was a reasonable reaction. So yeah, that is the movie. It's only about an hour long, and it's not that interesting of a thing to watch. I think if you wanted to see George Reeves' portrayal of Superman, I would check out the TV series The Adventures of Superman, even though I haven't done my review, but you can watch it before I do my review. I mean, there's no rules about that, right? But anyway, what did you think about Superman and the Mole Men if you've watched it? I would give it like a 5 out of 10. Just because it's not good, it's not bad, it's just kind of pedestrian, I would say. It doesn't really hold up as a movie. It doesn't even really hold up as a good episode of that show. So yeah, I'm trying to be the most prolific reviewer of all time. If you want to help me in this mission, please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 40 subscribers by the end of July. I think that we can do it. If you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. Please leave a comment. All of those things help. You can recommend me to watch videos. I do DC stuff, but I do Marvel stuff. I do Betty Davis stuff. Basically, I review whatever. So I really look forward to your recommendations and your opinions about this film. Thank you.